remember the day when I turned 10. A man in the H blocks was starving again. The struggle for freedom in Ireland had crossed a new line. 217 days passed by, 10 young brave men starved. I'll tell you why. Colonial Britain had labelled their cause a crime. I know this is now and that was then, but the same situation is looming again, as British intransigence drags us all back through the slime. How long will we let the Brits dictate what is a crime in this illegal state, as they rape, murder and pillage their way through time? Have we come from H Block to McGavery? Have we come from H Block to...
Thank you for the honour of asking me to speak here today in relation to the ongoing prison struggle in McGavery Jail. Newry and South Armagh have a proud Republican heritage and tradition when it comes to the freedom struggle, not only in the streets and countryside but also in the jails, with volunteer member McCree's from Camla being the most notable, having made the ultimate sacrifice to the hunger strike to help defeat the criminalisation policy of the Thatcher-led Conservative government. Given the sacrifices, hardship and brutality that Republicans endured in achieving that victory, it is heartbreaking to see that in 2012, Republican POWs are again having to undergo protest action in order that they be treated with the rights and respect that they deserve as political prisoners. POWs are currently on 23-hour lockup, enduring controlled movement anytime they leave their cell, and suffering the greatest strip searches by loyalist prison officers, many of whom are openly members of the sectarian loyal orders. These strip searches are not used as a so-called security measure, but rather as an integral part of an NIO-led criminalisation policy that is designed to humiliate and break the will of Republican POWs, a policy that is endorsed by the Stormont Executive and in particular David Ford, their Justice Minister. However, they will fail. For generations, successive British governments, Free State governments and Stormont regimes have attempted to break the Republican struggle by targeting its most vulnerable, the prisoners. And on each occasion, the spirit of freedom that burns in the hearts of these men and women has thwarted those attempts, regardless of the brutality of their captors' methods. The Republican POWs of 2012 are currently demonstrating their resistance to criminalisation by refusing to shave or cut their hair and by smearing their excrement on the walls and ceilings of their cells, meaning that for 23 hours of every day they are literally living alone in their own feces. However, this need not be the case. In August 2010, an agreement between POWs and prison authorities was reached, with permanent trade unions facilitating this. This would have saw the introduction of the boss chair that would scan prisoners and negate the use of invasive body searches. It is also worth noting that the boss chair is more technologically advanced than the scanners used by the Israelis when people pass from Gaza to the occupied territories. This agreement would also have meant a phased ending to controlled movement. However, David Ford has reneged on the 2010 agreement, apparently fearful that the POA would not accept change, despite recent calls from the POA head to introduce change to end the protest. The truth is that Ford and the other Stormont executive partners are doing their paymaster's bidding and continuing a criminalisation policy. This agreement should be implemented now. As well as this, we also have the internment of Marion Price, Jerry McGill and Martin Corey, either through the revocation of their licences or in Marion's case the refusal to recognise a royal prerogative of mercy. These prisoners should be released immediately, especially considering their health and condition. We have also saw an increase in the use of internment by remand, with Republican activists being taken from their families and held on little or no evidence, or even on the word of a PSNI officer alone. And of those sentenced, people like John Paul Wooden, Brent McCampbell and Brian Shivers, among others, have been convicted on shameful, symbolic and circumstantial evidence to provide scapegoats, proving that as well as criminalisation, the old British tradition of miscarriages of justice is also alive and well. So comrades, there is a lot to be angry and concerned about in regards to the prison struggle, with our friends and family members suffering because they have the audacity to support the establishment of a 32-county socialist Irish Republic rather than a sectarian carve-up in the 6 counties or a bankrupt and corrupt 26-county cowboy regime. Action outside to ensure their demands are met. The great Republican Mara John once said, "It is not enough to shout up the IRA, the important thing is to join the IRA." and similar sentiments should apply to the prisoners' struggle. It is not enough to say I support the prisoners and do nothing. The important thing is to demonstrate that support through protest action, pickets, letters to prisoners, publicity campaigns, fundraising and other methods. Effectively showing others within our community, Stormont, the Free State Government, the British Government, that not only are the prisoners right, but that you are right to support them, and will continue to do so until their demands are met.
It's great to see you out again doing it. And it's great to see us all standing here in the united fashion. The only proper Republican way to carry this. So, 2003, I was sent to McGarry, and we had no wing. We had nothing. Yet through grassroots struggle, with a unified front, and with a unified prisoner base and a unified support base, we managed to secure a Republican wing which would keep prisoners safe and away from the threat of loyalist attack, and keep them from being vulnerable in the face of the loyalist screw and antagonism that we had to face. Possibly with our naivety, we walked on to the Republican wing in September 2003, believing that we had secured for ourselves a reasonably decent way of life, given that we were incarcerated prisoners of war. It wasn't long, comrades, before reality hit home, and the British Prison Administration made it quite clear to us that they were going to take their anger from previous campaigns and from previous years of prison struggle out on us, given our smaller numbers. It soon became clear, day after day, excuse after excuse, that what we were facing into was a highly vindictive, a highly motivated and a highly politicised prison administration who had a grudge to bear and who were determined to take it out in vulnerable POWs. Excessive strip searches followed, controlled movement, constant lockdown and a general degradation of life, which very quickly became apparent to us that what we were seeing was an intolerable situation and something which was going to throw out more resistance in the not so far future. And clearly, comrades, as you know, the rest is history. 2 years ago, the prisoners took decisive, proactive action in McGarry, and they have been on pro. You don't need to remind you of the protest action that the comrade who spoke before me is more than adequately spelled it out. So comrades, I salute you all for being here today on the United Front. As I say, in 2003 we had a united front both in the jail and outside the jails, and that's what the Brits feared, and that's what made them capitulate. I make no apology for calling for Republican unity around the prison issue, as indeed around all political issues in this country. I think it's worth noting too that this current protest could have been solved had David Ford not decided to play politics with the issue. Had the Sinn Féin, SDLP, the DUP and the Ulster Unionist Party not all prevaricated and decided to ignore the suffering as opposed to getting around and doing something about it. It's quite easy to end strip searches, it's quite easy to bring in the boss chair. It's not a logistical nightmare, it's not a political nightmare, it just takes a bit of will. It's very, very worth noting that the Loyalist Prisoners Officers Association, the POA, the most orange element within the so-called security forces in the north, even the POA wanted to end strip searches. They don't want, in their own words, in the words of Finlay Spratt, they don't want the pressure of strip searches. They asked for the installation of the boss chair, but David Ford, the so-called human rights champion, decided instead to prevaricate, and prevaricate he did. And today, this week, the ramifications, whatever people feel about that, were visited onto the streets of the north. And David Ford has blood in his hands this week. Comrades, I will call on you all to carry on the struggle to end the strip searches for the full implementation of the Always Agreement.
Murder and pillage their way through time. Have we come from H Block to McGabbery? Have we come from H Block to McGabbery? H Block to McGabbery, you beat me, strip search me, undertreat me, McGabbery, my daily reality. McGabbery.